Hey guys, so as usual, I always try and give you the breakdowns of some of the good trades that we get. This week we've had a couple of good trades. We've had gold, which we did over 200 pips. Then AUD which I did 90 pips. I had USD JPY, which went to my direction. Then because of the CPI, eventually it came and reversed strongly. So I want to do a breakdown of AUD how I got into the trade, my analysis, and exactly the factors that I considered before looking for this short position at this point. Both trades I shared, of course, in our group. I shared gold, the short position, which was on, I think, Monday or Tuesday, I'm not sure. I think it was probably Monday. Then AUD. So I always try and just, I like just to mention these things so that you can grasp them very well. For you to have a successful trading week, you don't need to have 7 or 8 trades which went 100 pips. In fact, if you start your trading week and you're trying to look for 8 trades which are going to give you 100 pips, you're most likely to get nothing because your trade is probably going to go a direction for 50, 60 pips, and then it reverses, and then you get frustrated, then it affects your psychology. So all you need in a week is just at least 2 to 3 trades that give you a risk reward of at least 1 to 3 or 1 to 2.5 minimum. Because if you risk 1% of your account to get 2.5% of your account per trade, and you just get 2 good trades in a week, in that week you're going to do 5% growth. So just make sure you adjust your trading mindset so that you stop trying to look for, 10 profitable trades in a week. Just look for 2 to 3 good setups that give you a risk reward of at least 1 to 2.5 or 1 to 3. Assuming you are risking 0.5% of your account, let's say you are very conservative, 0.5, and you are targeting at least you are doing a 1:3 risk to reward ratio. That means as you risk 0.5, you're targeting to do at least 1.5 profit gain. So 2 trades in a week, you have 3% gain. If you do that for 4 weeks, you have 12% profit. Not many traders can do that even in a month, even in 2 months. So if you can even just do 5, 7, 10% consistently in a month, trust me, you're doing okay. Yeah, anyway, I'll jump into AUD I'll start with the daily time frame. So if you look at AUD at the moment, um, let me just show you something here on the 1 hour. Today we had the CPI news. So if you look at it right now, you might wonder why I was trying to short at this time, though it did well. Today we just had the CPI, the inflation news, and as you can see, it came out very, very negative for the dollar. So the dollar has been dropping like crazy, and AUD Euro USD, GBP all of these pairs have been buying strongly because of the impact of the news. As you can see, this candlestick is quite not the normal candlestick you'll be seeing every day. It only happens because of news. So before the news happened, AUD has been on a very, very clear downtrend. I also did this in my pre analysis and I mentioned what I'm looking for on AUD. I mentioned clearly that unless AUD can come and break above this high, we still don't have any clear sign of reversal. And at the moment, I can see it's probably trying to break above the high. Of course, we have to wait for the daily candlestick to close, but so far, if it closes above the high, it might be a good sign that this market wants to go up a little bit. Anyway, before this candlestick was formed, because I took the trade before the candlestick was formed, I traded using my usual, supply and demand. So if you look at AUD on the 4 hour time frame, this is our supply zone, our previous supply zone. And this supply zone has worked. Let me just mark it until this point. So in case you're wondering, let me just give you a hint. I've done a video of trading using supply and demand, but I'll keep, insisting. If you want to know how to trade using supply and demand, very simple. When the market is doing lower highs, lower lows, most of the times when price retraces back to where the impulse move started, that zone becomes the supply zone, and the vice versa for um, uh, demand zone. But because we are trying to look for a bearish trade, let's focus on the supply zone. The idea of the supply zone is to get a bearish trade market, I mean, when the price trades back to this zone, because the supply zone is basically a zone of strong sellers or strong bearish momentum. So we are anticipating that at this point, price will start dropping. And just for you to see how well these zones work, see also last time we had the supply zone, see what happened. Price traded here and then it started dropping. So also this time when it comes back to this zone, as long as it hasn't broken above strongly, so currently it has, as you can see with this candlestick, but before, by the time I was checking the trade, it had not broken above the supply zone. So it was still a valid place to anticipate bearish momentum. So going to the 1 hour time frame, this is where I look for my entry points. So as you've seen, I'm expecting to get a bearish pattern at this point or any sign of bearish confirmation. So I'm just going to delete this zone because you already understand how, you know, we've marked it. But I want you to see first of all what happened. When price got to this point, number one, it was unable to break above the zone, which is a good sign. Number two, we had a bearish engulfing candlestick here, which is also a good sign that possibly this price wants to retrace. So at this point, this market is now, getting my attention. So I'm trying to see if I'll get a better confirmation. Then what happens eventually is that we get this sort of consolidation here. If you mark, and if you extend it to the right, you come and realize that what happened? Price came and broke out of the consolidation using this candlestick. So try to make your consolidations very simple. Don't complicate your patterns. You see the fact that price has been playing about this zone for a long time. That's already a consolidation. It doesn't have to be a very perfect, some textbook pattern. The fact that you just understand how to interpret candlesticks and you know that all these candlesticks have been unable to break either above or below and close, that shows that we have indecision. So when we have indecision, it's easy for you to anticipate a breakout. So because my supply zone has been marked and I'm expecting price to drop, I'm trying to anticipate a bearish breakout. In the case that we get a bullish breakout above the consolidation, that means my setup has been invalidated, so I wouldn't have a trade. But in this case, price dropped and broke out below the consolidation, giving me a very, very clear confirmation that, you know what, I can now take my trade. So that's exactly how I got into my short position. This was my entry point immediately price closed. I got my entry point there. Let me delete this. I got my entry point. My stop loss was just slightly above that candlestick, and my TP was literally 90 pips. So as you can see, that is about 1 to 2.5 risk to reward. So if you are risking 1% of your account to gain 2.5, that's just a very good trade that has done it for you very, very easily. Yeah, so that's how I got into my trade. Don't forget the steps. Step number one is to identify the direction of the market, which I did using the higher time frame. You don't want to identify the direction using the 1 hour. That would be it can easily be a fake out. So to identify the direction, the general direction, you want to use a higher time frame like the daily or the 4 hour. In this case, I used the daily time frame. After that, I marked my supply zone. So I've already identified that the price is bearish on the daily time frame. So I'm trying to look for bearish trades. So I'll be looking for my supply and demand zones. Because we are trying to look for a sell trade, we'll focus on supply zone, not demand. There is my supply zone, which was marked. After marking the supply zone, my work is very simple now. All I'm just doing is anticipating to get a confirmation pattern at the supply zone. I just wanted to see how carefully I plan this trade before I take it. So you just don't wake up and you see it dropping and you're trying to jump into it. It's something that I've been anticipating, so I'm just waiting for a pattern. If I don't get the pattern, well and good. In this case, you get your pattern, you get your very clean trade. Yeah, you get your good return. So that's it.